What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction as well as a vocal Luca. And we're returning for another song by Bruce Springsteen. I want to thank again not only Michaela, who has provided so much music for the channel and so much insight, but has sponsored this particular deep dive. And again, I'm going to try to do a Bruce reaction roughly every 10 days, so more or less 3 every month. But all those who found this deep dive, indeed, it's a deep dive that has grown very quickly in terms of the folks commenting and people interested. I want to once again request a little bit of understanding in regard to, number one, my approach, which is to say I do these audio reactions almost entirely the way that I've listened to music since I was younger, which is to say I put on a CD, I put on a record, I let the song wash over me, I catch what I can lyrically on a first listen, and then over successive hearings, I tend to catch more and more, and eventually, if I'm still ambiguous on any particular line, I'll look up the lyrics either, in a lyric booklet if I have the CD, or in more recent years online, though of course since I've started doing these reaction videos, that middle step tends to get cut out because people provide insight as to the song and the narrative or the scene setting in the comments, and so that has been a very enjoyable dialogue between me and the folks who've come to be part of this channel, which now includes all of you who follow these Bruce reactions. But in that regard, there will be times, and indeed I'm thinking of The River, where I hear a line incorrectly or where I don't catch a crucial phrase in one part of the lyrics. So yes, that will likely continue to happen. Bear with me, and indeed feel free to give insight. So yes, I know there's been some people here who've joined this deep dive who were not following my channel before, so yes, it's just kind of the way I do things. It's a bit of a throwback style. I mentioned when I started doing reactions on this channel, I wanted it to be like a very DIY, like you're sitting here in the room, I put on a CD, I put on a record, we listen to it, we talk about it. So that will continue to be the case, but of course I will try my best to hear lyrics as clearly as I can on a first listen, and in some cases there may be metaphorical meaning, or there may be some autobiographical meaning behind a Bruce song that I'm not privy to because I haven't spent many years following his work closely. So bear with me is what I'm saying. Once again, major shout out to Michaela for sharing this personal selection, and there's much more Bruce coming after that. But yes, for this personal selection, the next tune I chose to react to is Badlands, which most literally refers to an arid geographical environment which is defined by mountainous terrain or rocky crags and the like, so essentially a desert climate, but one which has elevation. So yes, I don't know if that is a direct reference. Of course, there are different Badlands in different countries and regions of the world, so if there's a specific reference being made here, I'll just try to catch it as I can. If it is also not only visual but metaphorical or figurative, like an emotional Badlands where there are, steep peaks but also deep valleys and a short distance between the two, I feel like there's some ways that as a metaphor it could be quite potent and powerful. As I said, I'll try to catch what I can. Let's give it a listen. This is Bruce Springsteen. The tune is Badlands, and it's included in a curated selection or track list provided by Michaela.
Gotta
feel like maybe that's a single cut. It feels like that could go on longer. So yeah, I enjoy the sonic configuration. Definitely some cool guitar work along the way, especially in a moment where, I don't know if you'd call it a solo, but it did flare up a bit. The presence of the saxophone, which was a bit more solo-like, though still quite brief, will be, of course, something that catches my ear, which is further to say, if you're new to this channel, I've long been a fan of the saxophone, and obviously that instrument has been more and less prominent in different genres at different times. I go through a lot of 80s music on my channel, and a lot of like synth pop and pop rock and blues rock. In the 80s, the saxophone was a fixture, and then maybe in the next couple decades that followed, it became less common, but by and large, I'm fond of just about any saxophone, so I really enjoyed when that came into the tune. Bruce's singing here, number one, I enjoyed those non-verbal melodic deliveries, especially like in the back half of the tune. I noticed them more, and his delivery in the verses and the chorus, they felt like almost like he's thinking, like he's reflecting, like they felt a bit more inward or introverted, for lack of a better word. It wasn't, big. It felt less rustic or scratchy than in some other songs I've heard from him so far. And again, if you are new here, I knew Bruce by one or two of his hit songs, and even then, I don't know those songs, and it'll be good to reconnect with them and to get a better sense of what they're about. But, I was born in 1980, I grew up in the 80s. There's a couple tunes from that decade that I remember hearing on the radio. I think my dad had some of his music. So, yes, he's an artist I've known by reputation for, 4.5 decades, more or less. But I've never taken a closer look until recently when Michaela started sharing some of his work. But I have heard some different vocal idioms or vocal delivery styles just over the now, half dozen or so tunes that I've reacted to. And this one felt a bit more like inward in terms of the vocal tone. And yeah, lyrically, again, I'm not quite sure what's happening here. It seems like he is addressing a particular woman, and he's wanting to know maybe where he stands, and it sounds like there's also some religious belief, which of course that could function on some different levels. I do think Badlands is a figurative expression, and again, maybe there's a visual backdrop and an actual location, but it sounds like, and I actually was unsure if it like these Badlands are treating us good or they aren't treating us good. Obviously, those are diametrically opposed, but yes, if the Badlands could be seen as like, a one night stand or something that, happened really quickly and then it fell off suddenly and it was good, but now he wants to know, where are we? Are we anything? But he, again, is saying, like, I want to believe. And we talk about, like, a dream and wanting to make it real at the beginning. I did hear that. So that could be, the dream could be literally a dream, but it could also be like, we came together, I had this thought of what we could be. Now it seems like maybe that was just a phantasm. It was an ephemeral thing that was there and then it was gone. It was chimerical, but I want to believe. And he's talking about, having faith, like, or I forget exactly what the line was, but it was like something like, I want to believe in the love that you gave me. I have faith in, or maybe the faith was the second part of the phrase, but it sounds like he's trying to, again, understand where he is and see or have faith in what could be. But again, I don't know quite the nature of the interaction between him and this woman. I do feel like there were a couple lines maybe about, like, he was working in the fields and maybe like working on wheels, maybe doing different kinds of blue collar work. So maybe he's describing his life when she came into his life, and he's a simple or humble guy, and again, he's got faith and so on. But now maybe this experience has shaken him up or left him, questioning, like, what's real, what was just in his mind, or what was something that looked like it could be, but then he woke up from the dream. So yeah, either way, I caught tidbits. I do wonder how it all stitches together. Again, have patience with me if you would, and feel free to provide any insights. Once again, major thank you to Michaela for providing all sorts of music, including Bruce, and I am very excited about this deep dive as we get now more and more songs into it. And as I said, there are many proper releases coming after we go through this personal selection, though once again, there are, is it like 30 tunes? There are a lot of tunes in this folder. Let me see exactly how many. 23, so not quite 30, but over 20. And I think we've done, like 6 or 7 now, so plenty more to go before we then move on to some proper releases. Looking forward to it all, and this deep dive seemingly has the potential to extend for not only months, but years, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Let me know what you think, and the Sleeping Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.